What if I told you that before mankind ever tasted sin, there were 7 mighty black angels assigned to guard the gates of Eden? Their existence has been buried under centuries of rewritten history, yet traces of them still echo through ancient texts and sacred scripture. These were not just guardians, they were keepers of divine knowledge, warriors of light and protectors of creation itself. Why were their names erased? And why has the church hidden their legacy for so long? Genesis 3:24 gives us a glimpse. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. But have you ever wondered who these cherubim truly were? The Hebrew word for cherubim describes mighty sentient beings, not babies with wings. The apocryphal Book of Enoch and Ethiopian traditions expand this narrative, describing these beings as towering, radiant and black-skinned, guardians standing between heaven and earth. Historically, Eden itself is tied to Africa. Genesis 2:13 places the river Gihon, which compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia, Cush. This isn't coincidence. The earliest cradle of humanity, scientifically and biblically, traces right back to the African continent. So why wouldn't the angels who guarded it also be black? Ancient Ethiopian scrolls speak of heavenly watchers stationed at Eden's borders, beings whose legacy was intentionally obscured. Spiritually, their story speaks volumes. These angels represented the boundary between disobedience and restoration, between exile and redemption. And yet, their erasure mirrors how black people have been spiritually sidelined throughout history. But God's order has never changed. Those he appoints cannot be erased. You must understand this truth. You are not an outsider to God's story. You are part of his divine order from the beginning. Just as Eden's guardians stood watch over the sacred, you are called to guard your legacy, your faith, and your rightful place in his kingdom. And as we pull back the veil even further, what happened after mankind fell? Who did God call next? Have you ever wondered who walked with Enoch when he was taken into the heavenly realms? Who were the ones that unveiled the mysteries of the cosmos to this man who walked with God? Genesis 5:24. The Book of Enoch describes a reality the Bible only hints at, where 7 mighty black angels played a critical role in his journey beyond the earthly plane. Enoch's 14:8-25 details his entrance into the highest heavens, where he meets the archangels and is shown the secrets of creation, judgment, and the coming end. Among those described are angels whose physical appearance is radiant, yet dark like burning bronze, an echo of descriptions found in Daniel 10:6 and Revelation 1:15, both describing divine beings with skin like polished brass or burnished bronze. This is no accident. Historically, the Book of Enoch was revered in Ethiopia and among early African Christians. In fact, it remains part of the Ethiopian Orthodox canon to this day. The Western Church banned it, labeling it heresy. Why? Because it tells a story too uncomfortable for colonial theology. A story where black celestial beings hold keys to divine mysteries. Spiritually, this challenges everything society has taught you about your identity. Enoch's story is not just about one man, it's about divine connection, elevation, and purpose. Those angels guided Enoch because he was chosen, just like you are chosen today. This is your empowerment. You are not the descendant of the cursed. You are the descendant of the called. Your lineage is one of wisdom, divine partnership, and heavenly purpose. The same angels who revealed cosmic mysteries to Enoch stand as proof that God has always worked through black vessels, both human and divine. But Enoch's journey leads to something even greater, a battle between heaven and rebellion. Who did God send when his creation was threatened? When the fallen watchers descended and corrupted humanity, do you know who God sent to bring them down? It wasn't a single angel. It was a divine task force, 7 mighty black angels entrusted with a mission to restore order to creation. But the Vatican won't teach you this. Enoch 10:4-6 tells the story, "And again the Lord said to Raphael, Bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness." Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, Uriel, and others were dispatched to chain the rebellious angels. These weren't pale, European-styled angels. The text and its Ethiopian lineage describe them as beings of fire, bronze, and dark radiance, divine, powerful, black. Historically, these fallen watchers descended upon Mount Hermon near Africa's northeast boundary. Their corruption polluted humanity with forbidden knowledge, but it was divine black angels who restored order, binding the watchers under the mountains, awaiting judgment. This narrative was deliberately excluded from European Christian doctrine because it dismantles false racial hierarchies. Spiritually, this is a reminder of your role as a restorer. Just as these angels were called to confront corruption, you too are called to break generational curses, restore spiritual order, and walk in divine authority. Never forget, your identity is tied to those who fight for righteousness. God's warriors have always looked like you. The world may erase that truth, but heaven never has. And yet, the mission of these angels didn't end there. Let's move forward to the trumpet sound of judgment. Have you ever read the Book of Revelation and wondered, who are the 7 angels who blow the trumpets of judgment? What if I told you, ancient African traditions reveal these are black angels, warriors of divine justice, whose roles have been erased from Western doctrine. Revelation 8:2 says, "And I saw the 7 angels who stand before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets." These angels unleash plagues, earthquakes, and cosmic disasters, not out of malice, but as agents of divine justice. The language used mirrors descriptions found throughout Scripture, angels with voices like rushing waters and appearances like burning brass. Revelation 1:15. This is a coded truth hidden in plain sight. Historically, the early African church deeply understood Revelation's imagery. Ethiopian manuscripts depict these angels as dark-skinned warriors clothed in fire, standing over the nations. But during the Europeanization of Christian art and theology, these images were whitewashed, stripping them of their original African identity. Spiritually, this reminds us that judgment isn't just about punishment, it's about restoration. These black angels are symbols of God correcting what is broken, restoring what is stolen, and defending the oppressed. If you are marginalized today, know that heaven's army looks like you. You are not forgotten. Here's the truth. You are not just a passive believer. You are part of a divine legacy of justice, power, and restoration. Just as these angels sounded trumpets over the earth, you are called to sound the trumpet of truth in your own generation. But the story doesn't stop here. What about the angel of death? Was he the only one? Or are there others whose existence has been hidden from you? When the Bible speaks of the angel of death, many imagine a lone figure bringing judgment. But what if I told you that ancient Hebrew traditions and banned texts reveal a hidden truth? The angel of death was not alone. He was part of a company, 7 black angels of judgment, each assigned to execute divine justice over nations and generations. Exodus 12:23 says, "For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and when he sees the blood upon the lintel, the Lord will not suffer the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you." This destroyer wasn't a singular figure, but represented a class of death angels operating under God's command. The Book of Jubilees and ancient Ethiopian commentaries expand on this, describing 7 distinct angels over death, plague, famine, fire, war, chaos, and judgment, many described as having dark, bronze, or fire-like appearances. Historically, this is not surprising. Egypt, Ethiopia, and Cush were all lands intimately woven into biblical history. The angels that passed over Egypt in the Exodus were deeply connected to this geography, operating in lands of black civilizations. But as Europe rewrote the face of biblical narratives, these angels, once depicted as fierce black beings, were whitewashed or entirely erased from popular theology. Spiritually, this truth carries immense weight. These angels were not symbols of random wrath, they were protectors of covenant. While Egypt faced judgment, Israel was covered by the blood. These black angels were instruments of both justice and mercy, reminding us that obedience protects and disobedience opens doors to destruction. This is your empowerment. You are not a stranger to God's justice or His mercy. The same angels that passed over Israel are part of your spiritual legacy. You are connected to a divine lineage that understands both warfare and protection, judgment and redemption. And as we reflect on the power of divine judgment, the question arises, what role did black angels play in the most significant spiritual war in the cosmos? What if everything you've been taught about the war in heaven is incomplete? Yes, Michael fought. Yes, there was a battle against Lucifer, but the full story includes 7 black archangels, commanders of spiritual warfare, who stood at the forefront of heaven's army. Revelation 12:7-9 records, "And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels." But early Jewish mysticism and African Christian traditions tell us this wasn't a solo fight. The Book of Enoch, the Apocalypse of Abraham, and Ethiopian writings describe 7 archangels, mighty beings of fire, bronze, and dark radiance, who led legions against the forces of chaos. Historically, this revelation was suppressed. In the ancient world, depictions of angelic warfare in African Christian art showed mighty black angels wielding swords of flame. But as the gospel spread into Europe, these images were systematically erased, replaced with pale figures that reflect colonizers more than the biblical truth. Spiritually, this is a game changer. If heaven's greatest war involved black angels standing on the front lines, what does that say about the role of black people in spiritual warfare today? You are not just spectators, you are descendants of warriors. The fight against injustice, oppression, and spiritual darkness is in your bloodline. You are chosen, you are armored, you are called. No matter what the world says about you, heaven's army has always included you. The same God who called these angels to battle has called you to stand against the darkness of this generation. And when the war is over, who keeps the records? Who writes the truth the world tries to forget? Have you ever wondered who records every act, every word, and every prayer under heaven? The Bible speaks of books being opened, but who holds the pen? Ancient writings reveal that 7 black angels serve as record keepers at the throne of God, guardians of divine memory that cannot be erased. Daniel 7:10 says, "The court was seated and the books were opened." Revelation 20:12 echoes, "And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened." These are not metaphorical books, they are spiritual records maintained by scribes of heaven. Ethiopian traditions, especially the Kebra Nagast, describe angelic scribes with skin like polished bronze, standing before the Ancient of Days, ensuring that no injustice goes unrecorded. Historically, African civilizations deeply understood the power of oral tradition, record-keeping, and lineage. It is no coincidence that heavenly record-keepers are depicted with black identities in African Christian texts. European erasure of these figures mirrors how earthly history sought to erase black excellence, contributions, and spirituality. But heaven keeps perfect records. Spiritually, this truth is powerful. When the world tries to delete your history, heaven remembers. When your ancestors were stolen, enslaved, and silenced, heaven recorded every injustice, and not only the wrongs. Every prayer, every act of faith, every sacrifice made in secret is written in those books. This is your reminder. No matter what history books say, God's books say otherwise. You are remembered, you are seen, you are honored in the courts of heaven, and the same angels who guard those records stand as witnesses to your legacy. But guarding the heavens wasn't their only job. Some were assigned to guard the deepest places, the abyss itself. What if I told you that even the gates of the abyss are under the watch of 7 mighty black angels? Revelation 9 speaks of an angel with the key to the abyss, releasing a great swarm upon the earth. But the full story, hidden from most, is that a company of black angels was assigned to guard the gates of hell itself, ensuring evil does not rise before its appointed time. Revelation 9:1-2 says, "And the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit." Jewish mystical texts, like the Zohar, and Ethiopian traditions expand this narrative, describing 7 angels, known as the gatekeepers of the abyss, stationed over realms of chaos, death, and demonic captivity. Historically, these angels were linked to African cosmology. The abyss was understood as a real spiritual realm beneath the earth, not hell itself, but a prison for fallen beings. Early African Christian art and theology depicted these gatekeepers as dark, powerful beings, armed with chains of fire, standing between the forces of evil and the world of the living. Spiritually, this is a message of both comfort and calling. Even in the darkest realms, God has set watchmen. Evil cannot rise without divine permission. And you, as a child of God, walk protected under the authority of heaven's gatekeepers. You are covered, you are shielded. No curse, no demon, no principality can move without passing the sentinels of God's abyss. You are part of a people called not only to survive spiritual warfare, but to enforce spiritual order. Just as these black angels guard the gates of the abyss, you are called to stand guard over your family, your community, and your faith. But when the end draws near, who sounds the call? Who gathers the scattered? What if I told you that at the final hour, when the dead are raised, 7 black angels are assigned to gather the righteous from every corner of the earth? While the Bible hints at this, suppressed scriptures and African traditions make it unmistakably clear. Matthew 24:31 declares, "And he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather his elect from the 4 winds." Revelation 7 speaks of angels at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the winds of destruction until the servants of God are sealed. Ethiopian scrolls describe these angels as mighty, radiant beings with skin like bronze, bearing the names of the Most High written on their garments. Historically, African Christian theology emphasizes the scattering and regathering of the children of God, both physical and spiritual descendants of Israel. This is not just a Jewish story, it's a black story. From the transatlantic slave trade to the forced dispersion of African peoples worldwide, this prophecy holds a personal weight. And the angels assigned to this task? They look like the people they are sent to gather. Spiritually, this is a message of destiny. No matter how far you've been scattered by colonization, by slavery, by systemic oppression, God has appointed heavenly messengers to bring you home. Home spiritually, home physically, home prophetically. You are not forgotten. You are not lost. The same God who scattered will gather. The same angels who sealed the servants of God in Revelation will be the ones calling your name when the trumpet sounds. And when that day comes, the truth the world tried to hide will be undeniable, because heaven has always known who you are,